I have a wonderful guest. He's going to introduce himself to us. He's my big brother. Let me first introduce the one I know. He's my big brother. I was born and I saw him. So that's what I know. Welcome back to my space. This is the B Vibes. I'm Gracious-Esther. I release content on personal development, relationship building, and a little bit of lifestyle. And today, I want him to introduce himself to us. So.
Well, thank you very much, Esther, for having me. And it's amazing to be on B Vibes. Yeah. So my name is David Ehiavi, and I'm a lot of things, actually. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a project manager. I am I've had lots of things I would say, but let me just keep it at that. I try to see how I can, educate the general public on several things that matters to humanity and to life in general. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So please, before we go further and say why we are having the discussion, if you haven't subscribed yet, please click on that red button that says subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and do well to share after the video. So today we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence, and that's the general focus of our discussion. But then particularly we'll be talking about how to control your emotions, your anger emotions, let me put it that way. So that will be, and I'm going to be asking him questions that will prompt this discussion. And then I hope at the end of the video, you would have gotten something or two. So the first question I want to ask her is, what are your triggers?
A lot of things don't trigger me, though. Well, I think one of the major things that trigger me right now at this point of my life is when I see people doing things that I feel they ought not to be doing, like something you've outgrown. Like, it gets me upset. Like, why would you be doing something like this? So before you know it, I tend to react negatively. Like, I tend to just get offended and why would you be, and that kind of a thing. So, but that's one of the major, but and secondly, in this country that we are in now, when you don't have money, you're angry. Like,
you're always angry.
In this country, we're born angry.
Yes.
So that is when you're asking for direction, sometimes on the street, you're like, hey, please, excuse me, sir, please don't be angry. Before you now ask.
Okay, so I want to ask, is there something, what's the worst thing you've done due to anger, or you've seen someone do due to anger?
One of the worst things I've done due to anger was I think when I was still growing up, a young boy, and I was eating with my younger brother. So they served us a plate of yam and egg sauce. And egg sauce is easily scrambled on the egg. So he would just take it, he would just throw it into my plate and trying to pick something. And the egg will easily attach to the fork. And I was angry. I just took the fork and I stabbed him as a young boy. Yeah. I just stabbed him and I got angry and all like that. So I think that's the worst I've done. But the worst I've seen someone do out of anger was run somebody over with a car. He, entered the car, got angry, ran the person over, and it was after doing it, the person was like, oh my God, what did I just do? But the deed has been done.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't even, have I done it? I don't know. I don't know if there's any bad thing. Sometimes I want to show myself, but then at the end of the day, I will not even do it. So I don't even know if there is, maybe, okay, the worst I've done is talk to you in a very insultive way. Do you think there are certain actions caused by anger that you would say is justifiable? Like when somebody do something and it's
you're in a state of
state
of anger, there is almost nothing you will do right. If you do anything, now there are two things. You can feel angry and not express it and not show. And then while you have that, I'm actually angry, but you can address something calmly. But if there's anything that anger fuels you to do, most times you are irrational in your decision and even in your thinking. It's when you come to like, oh, what did I just do? And this is what the deed has been done. Now it resorts to crisis management. damage control. That's the thing. Yeah, but I don't think there's anything that you would do based on anger. I mean, there's this now relates to you now. Like, let's be very realistic. You know, before you get control of your anger, at that point when you were still unable to control your anger, most of the things we do out of anger we feel justified. Somebody offends you, and then you slap the person. Inside of you, there is this comfort, like, yes, the person deserves it, and you feel justified by doing it. Do you understand? By your own standard, you feel justified. You see, but by the standard of humanity, there is nothing that justifies you. That's why no matter what, there is no religion that will justify your anger. There is no philosophy that will justify all those exhibitions of anger. No philosophy at all is going to.
So I don't need to ask you. I know that you used to watch Oscars. These are I don't even need to ask you. Either you, hey God, I know, oh Lord, I know you used to watch it. I'm very sure. I'm very, very sure. And you heard about like the recent things that happened and have befallen our wonderful Will Smith. But like, so what would you make of the whole situation? Because then again, I had to follow his whatsoever was going to happen after that. And I saw that he lost, oh God, should I say he almost lost his career? He lost a whole lot of things. So, like, what would you make of the whole situation?
You know, one of the problems with coming to limelight in life, one of the problems of getting to certain positions and getting to certain heights in life is when you haven't completely mastered certain things that you should master. Now, one thing you must understand is being a celebrity, being a popular person, you know, you are open to lots of criticism, lots of mockery, and lots of adverse, statements or reactions. People will slander you on social media. You don't even have without hearing your own side of the story. Most of the things that happen to celebrities, nobody hears their own side of the stories. So that's why it's very important that these things are well managed. Now, for example, let me start now. To even look at the definition of emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive, use, understand, manage, and handle your emotions. That's emotional intelligence. Now, if it is low and you are unable to develop yourself in that aspect, be sure that your low emotional intelligence will be responsible for your downfall at one point in your career. So now I expected, if like you said, I watched the Oscars. No, there was a particular Oscar one time when Chris Rock said something about Will. You understand? And it was a joke anyway. Of course, comedians they try to extract jokes out of certain events. And that was really disapproving because both parties did not like that. Will and the wife did not like what he said. So whatever happened recently what did not just happen on that stage. Something led to it. Now, people have not seen what happened. It still doesn't justify Will Smith's action. He could have expressed himself differently. He could have managed the whole thing differently in a more mature way. Now, going there and you see, according to human rights, you don't trample on people's human rights and then you smack them at the slightest offense. And in fact, you don't even have a legal right to kill someone who killed someone. Like you walk into a room and they see someone killing someone, you witness him killing someone. You don't even have the legal right to kill that person for killing somebody. That's how bad it is. So, of course, and he hasn't done anything that bad. All he said something. You could have just, gotten up and then disapproved of his statement and, politely, in a nice way, beautifully. But let me point, no matter how wrong you are as a person, if you do something to me and then I slap you, you always have that instinct to want to retaliate. You want to and then you want to retaliate, but out of maturity, you can decide to restrain yourself. Now, at the end of the day, Chris may have gone out of line, but because of his restraint and the height of his emotional intelligence, at that moment, Will, who felt offended, now became the culprit because of unable to manage it. So honestly, it was an unfortunate situation. It would have been better managed if Will had just overlooked. Supposing he didn't do anything, he didn't make any reaction or anything. That might just have been the only thing. In fact, before he went to him, you realize that he was even done talking about Will's wife. He was even moved on. We had laughed, and probably nobody might even remember he said anything like that. And even if we remember, it would just be in passing, on a very, very, very light note. that what he did is going to be remembered for decades. So I think that's my view. That's my view about that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I actually feel all these things you said, because it actually cost him a lot. Like, he was expelled from the academy. He was banned from the Oscars for 10 years. 4 of his movies were cancelled. In fact, he was replaced with Morgan, who's one of the movies. He had a lead role and he was replaced. A lot of things. And then his wife on her own have denied him. A lot of things he lost. So, but then again, just as you said, it was something had generated that. I didn't even know about the last Oscars or whatever happened. Something must have generated that. It's like a step build up. So when you get to that point where you are about to lose it, sometimes my brother will always say that talk is cheap, in the sense that it's easier to say don't do this, don't do that, until you are in that situation. You are in that situation where your head is pounding and you're like, what will I do to this person? So when you are at that point where you're about to lose it, like the person has actually gotten to like the limit of limits. How best do you control that anger?
Wow. I was waiting for that question because it's one thing that people find difficult. That is the difficult part of controlling your emotions, your anger. Now, the first thing that can ever change you is your knowledge. What you have in your mind is what changes you. If you believe that this thing is difficult, you will always find it difficult. If you believe that you can make it work, you will make it work. First, you have to accept that I have an attitude that is really not pleasant. It's not nice, like it's a mess. Now, when you accept that, you can now actively build on that information to say, okay, what do I replace this thing with? How do I control my feeling when things like this are happening? When I was growing up, there were times when I'll be angry and then they will give me food. I'm like, I'm not eating because I'm angry. But when the hunger has become serious, you'll not come down and be looking at the right. Be like, when nobody's around, you quickly look for something to eat, and it's worse when you don't have money to buy something for yourself. And this has repeated itself several times. When I now left my parents' home, I went to school. I'm living with my roommate. My roommate gets me angry. There is not enough food in the room already. I know that if I get angry, I cannot vex and say I want to leave this food. So I'll now have to look for another way to express that anger, but I make sure I don't lose that food because I told my mind that I cannot lose that food. So if we can extend these things exponentially to every aspect of our lives and then every area where we find ourselves, we realize that, and you will do so much, because anger will affect you in your place of work, your business. How do you interact with your customers? Life is basically an interaction with people. Life is all about people. The day you were born into a family. You are not born into an empty space. You left your family, you have neighbors. From neighbors, you have schoolmates. From schoolmates, you have workmates. From workmates, like everybody everywhere. So you are every day interacting with people. You cannot be angry all the time. Now, how do people grow into this, where they come into domestic abuse? Marriages where you are hitting your spouse. It's so demeaning. Like I don't know how people get to the point where you are beating another human being like an animal, and you derive confidence, you derive joy from that. You are confidently doing that. It's because you have bred this evil. There's nothing beautiful about anger. But the truth is, offenses must always come. Sure, people must offend you, but what makes you a master over your emotions is when these things come and then you control it, like, oh, you are just an emotion. You won't ruin my day. I'm going to be in charge of this thing. This is what I want to achieve. I want this person to understand that this is wrong. I want this person to do this. And then you manage the situation. Once you manage the situation, they will now come to realize that I offended this person, but this person really didn't get angry. They can just come and apologize to you. I noticed you were angry. I am sorry. Do you know how much you have changed that person? You have done so much in changing that person. So there's a lot you can do when you can control your emotions. You will not only help yourself, you will help every other person around you. There will be more understanding, and you will be more accommodating. And then the cohesion will be increased. The beauty, like the teamwork in everything you do, it's going to be so beautiful. Everything in life is just be sweet. But it's not easy. There is a work. If you're ready to put in the work, and then you'll be fine.
deep talk. From everything you said, I think the most important thing you've made mention is like personal development, developing yourself. Knowledge
Yeah,
is actually the key that helps you understand, that
yeah, of
helps you
course.
grow. Are there people who actually have these anger issues and in self-denial, or sincerely speaking, they don't know that they actually have anger issues? So how do they figure out that this is a part of them? Because then
Okay, yeah,
I was having some discussions with some I was having a video with some people, yes, some days back. And then we're actually talking about toxic relationships and abuse. And one of the things I make while we're discussing about, we're talking about how somebody who is toxic can leave the attitude of being toxic. I felt
yeah.
that you have to know. But then they were of the opinion that a toxic person doesn't know he or she's toxic. I'm like, there are already
Okay,
traits that are showing you that are toxic. And from what you said, we talked about knowledge. And knowledge also is
yeah.
just all about understanding yourself. So, how do somebody figure out that? See, first of all, is it possible that I can have anger issues and not know it? Then, how do I figure out that, okay, this is a side of me?
Okay. Now, uh, truth is, when you're growing up and you have anger issues, most times you might not know. At initial, you won't know that you have anger issues, and then I think it largely depends on upbringing. That's why when you see people who do certain things, and the next thing everybody will like, what kind of parenting did this person have? When you see someone who is domestically abusing his spouse or her spouse, the first thing people look at, what kind of upbringing did you have? Now, and a step further from that, while you're growing up, there are things you will do. The parenting will tend to guide you. Somewhat like you see. Have you noticed there's some children right now who you serve them a plate of food, and then just because you do something that gets them angry, they fling that plate away, they break the plates,
Yes.
they take something and dash it. And at that moment, what do parents do? That's the fundamental, because the child was first born into a family. So the first thing that child will learn is within that family. Is when you get to school and start mingling with people, then people will now start to have impact on you. But the first thing is the child itself. How do you raise that child? Now, if that child grows to believe that it's normal to express myself, when I'm angry, I can just fling anything, I can tear anything. Now, if a child growing like that will not even know that he or she has anger issues, until you begin to mingle with the society and realize that you are always the weird person. You get angry. This is practical. I want to use some money. I'm going to use myself for this analogy. Now, I grew up as someone who, like, I have zero tolerance. You do something and I'm like, this thing is bad, is wrong, and I can do anything to make sure I can tear anything, I can break anything. Like, what rubbish is this? What nonsense is this? Now, you might be my friend. That thing I am saying is actually correct, but maybe I could have said it better for you to understand. But I can say it in a way the person might even be so offended. Sometimes you might even do something little. Because I get angry, I might even slap you or hit something on you, and then I lose that person as a friend. I have lost certain friends. I did not know that I had anger issues. I thought I was being disciplined. I thought I was standing for justice. I thought I was representing, like, I was representing righteousness, like being right all the time. I thought I was doing that. So I had good intentions of not tolerating evil or bad things. But I did not know that I didn't really have control over myself. Now, but by the time I sat down to reappraise myself, because occasionally I do reappraise myself and take stock of my life and see how things are going, I realized I have lost lots of friends. I have lost business deals. I've lost like lots of things, and I have to sit down to ask myself, why is it that each time this happens? And let me tell you something: there is no adult who would say he doesn't know he has anger issues, because over time you've grown, and people have suddenly found the boldness to tell you that you need to watch your anger, watch the way you do things. There is nobody you find in an abusive relationship who will tell you he doesn't know that he's abusive. Most of them, what they now end up doing is they now blame it on the person they abused and say, you are the one that provoked me. If you didn't provoke me, I wouldn't have done it. And they are feeling sober. That's not an excuse. Now, it's a form of weakness if you cannot control your anger. It's a weakness. Strong people know how to control their body and their mind. Their body and their mind. Discipline is everything. If you don't have discipline, you cannot achieve anything. Now, self-discipline is the center of all material success. There is nothing you succeed in today without discipline. Now, okay, for example, you are running this vlog. You are disciplined. Every time you're trying to have content, generating content, that is how you will get to the point where you want to get to. If you sit down and you do one video, I'm like, oh, I'll do the next one in 6 months' time. You think you get anywhere? You would not get anywhere. So it's discipline, even in the face of difficulty, like it's difficult to control this anger, but you have a target. I want to get to a point where these things will no longer get to me. And then by the time you're able to master these things, you have to discipline yourself. Put your emotions in check. Be conscious. You wake up every morning, you speak to yourself. When someone is beginning to get you angry, just realize, oh, I'm beginning to get angry. First thing is to realize that you're getting angry. Then the next thing is to begin to channel your mind towards a recovery process. How do you recover your mind from that point where you think you are?
While working on controlling your anger, is it possible to make your anger your ally? Like, can it work positivity for you instead of just going negative? And
yes, it can work. You can use it. You can use it to your own benefit. That is when you have gotten to the point where you have mastered yourself and mastered your emotions. Now, for example, people who will refer to as human rights activists. These are people who are angry at the things that happen in the society. They are angry. They are not happy when they see people's rights being trampled upon. So they use that thing to fuel themselves. Like, that is the thing that empowers them to call for a change. Do you understand? Now, you look at what happened at the Lekki toll gates when people went out to protest. They protested because they were angry at what was going on. This is wrong. It shouldn't happen. So they came out to protest. Now, they channeled their anger in a positive way. Do you understand? So personally, you can manage your emotions. Somebody does something wrong. You are angry. The person did that and didn't do it well. You put yourself down, put yourself together. You're in check. Then call the person. I'm like, you see, this thing you did. This. It should be done like this and like this. You could have done it this way, though, but this is. And then by the time you are done having that discussion, you would realize that what gives you the power or the energy to speak the way you speak is the anger you felt.
Secondary school. Well, those watching, me and Brahim went to say secondary school, but he finished before I was born. So let me just say it. But then we had.
Come on. I'm just 16.
But then we had the same hostel masters, the same hostel mistress, practically the same characters we met. And I could remember that because I already had the idea of this is how they act towards our kind of people in school, the hostel mistresses. I always had a defense mechanism. So whenever you come, I am 100 times ready for you. By the time they are releasing one word, I'm giving you 20. But then, growing up, like coming to this stage I am right now, I felt that probably I would have handled, yes, those people would remain the same way they are. But my ability to control my anger and control my emotions actually makes me a better version of who I'm going to be. It is not about the person who gets you offended. It's about you who decides that this is not this is actually not going to influence my energy or channel my attitude to a negative side. Instead, I'm going to work on myself. Because I usually tell people that we are work in progress. We are not perfect. Though the Bible says we are meant to be perfect, but we are still on that step of perfection. So just as you said, people are going to get you offended. People are going to get you angry. But your ability to control your emotions is actually what makes you the better version of yourself. It's not about, because most times when we talk about controlling your anger, I know some people will watch our video and be like, okay, do you mean we should just be moving for people when people vex us? But I feel it's not about that. Most times we should just give them opportunities and keep giving chances whenever the person comes for the person, because the Will Smith case, he didn't react that time at whatever happened at the last Oscar you talked about. But now his reaction now is almost costing him. I can't imagine the defamation of his name, of his of his person, because he's actually somebody who is being respected. And then the amount of money he has lost. Someone like is in Nigeria. If he's a Nigerian person, people have want to commit suicide. What am I living for? This level is that everybody's angry about the situation of money.
But I try to share it around. People should imbibe these things. It will make the whole world a better place. Honestly, this was amazing. I'm really happy to be here. Like, I'm so glad. And I am going to tell every other person who is going to be watching this thing, if you have not subscribed to B Vibes, man, you're on a LinkedIn. Like, comment, and share. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please remember, just as he said, he has finished what he has said. What I was going to say. Just like, subscribe, share. Please tell us in the comment section if you enjoyed the video, what you also think about. Maybe you also have advice for us on how to control our anger. Please let us know in the comment section. Yes, thank you so much.